Shall we start now, Mr. Febri?
Yes, yes.
Okay, can we start? Okay, so before we start, I'm going to check the participants. Okay, guys, let me remind you that it's better for you to open your cam, please. So we'll have more interactive webinar today. Okay, let me check one from Karisma Bangsa. Maybe you can unmute your mic and say hello or hi. Okay, where are you guys from Karisma Bangsa? Where is it? Can't hear your voice. Okay, thank you. Who is this? From Karisma Bangsa? Anyone? I thought that the one who writes like 12 Cambridge is from Karisma Bangsa. Am I right? Okay, let me check later. Continue with Kesatuan Bangsa Jogja. Anyone here from Kesatuan Bangsa Jogja? Mr. Febri? Can you hear my voice, Mr. Febri?
Yeah, I can hear your voice.
Okay, is it clear enough?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so everyone, we're about to start. Okay, present Mr. Thank you from Gustiat Parikesit ya. So it's from Kesatuan Bangsa. Okay, so I think I'm not gonna check one by one, but once again, I do remind you that it's better for you to open your cam during the webinar. Okay, can we start? Can we start now, Mr. Berat?
Yes, of course.
Are you ready? Okay, thank you. So, wait, okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. I am Archie and I'm a teacher in Caheran Samaya Bogor, Indonesia. And I'm delighted to be your moderator for today's discussion about reflection my final year in high school. So based on the topic, I can guess we will do more like sharing session, and I'll be very happy to invite you to participate and being active during the webinar. But first of all, let us praise and thank the presence of Almighty God for the abundance of grace and the joy of all of us during this pandemic can still gather in this meeting and in good health. But before we get started, I just want to go over a few things. The first one is please note for maintaining the qualities of the recording, all the attendances will be muted throughout the presentation. However, we will have a Q&A session in the end. To all participants, feel free to ask. You can use raise hand feature, so then the operator will allow you to unmute your mic, or you can drop your questions on the chat box and we will try to cooperate as many as possible. And next, and during the speaker's presentation, always open your cam. We will also have a photo session in the end of the webinar. Now it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Berat Karaca. Am I right? How to pronounce your name, Mr. Berat? Okay, thank you. Okay, so how can I call you? Do you prefer me to call you Mr. or Abi? Which one?
Whatever you like, Abi.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, how are you, Abi? Fine?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing fine. Yeah. Thank you very much for taking your time to come on to this webinar. And all right, everyone, he's a mortgages at the Commonwealth Bank, Sydney, Australia. If you go check his personal information on LinkedIn, he has a lot of volunteer experience as management team, guest speaker, and operations director in a companies or organizations. He's graduated from MIT College with so many achievements, and he's got a bachelor's degree from Macquarie University, Australia. And without further ado, let's get into the topic. Mr. Berat, time is yours.
Beautiful, thank you very much. And it's an honor to be able to talk to you all here, inshallah. I know, especially with technology today, it's beautiful how thousands of kilometers away, I can get in contact with everyone over there in Indonesia. I do miss you guys. I remember I went to Indonesia, I think it was beginning of 2017. I was at Cahaya Rancamaya for just about a month. And beautiful school. I loved Indonesia. Bogor was beautiful. The traffic a bit busy, but it was a beautiful school, beautiful country. And we'll get into today's topic. I don't have any sort of slides ready to show. I wanted to try and keep this one a little bit more personal, and to try and make it more conversational. And if you guys have questions as well, please do put it in the chat box, and we can discuss that and talk about that too. I want to talk about today year 12, which is the final year, and my experience. So while I was in year 12, it's a very, especially in Australia here, it's a very important year, where all of your final results, all of your final exams, it's almost like all of your years of studying finally comes down to your final exam and your final mark that you get, that sort of puts you on the direction to where you want to go in the future. And I know that in year 12 especially, it was very important for me to try and learn myself. It's a very important time where you learn what works best for you. So one thing that I learned was studying types, studying pattern. Did I like or get, I sort of learned what worked for me in terms of I was very good at being able to tell the information that I read and explain it back. And that's how I understood it better. Some people like to read and write. Some people like to watch videos. Some people like to do their own different methods, different ways of studying. For me, it worked the best when I tried to understand the information and then explain it to someone else. So things like that were very important, especially in the final year. The friends that you have around you are very important as well. I know, especially during the final year, you have a lot of friendships that you're bringing all together. You've had a lot of years of experience together, and you have some great friends. And it's also good to use them and use each other to try and grow and to try and study together, motivate each other, try and encourage each other to do good things and to study, and to spend a lot of your time helping each other. Because at the end of the day, as much as it is important for you, it's also good to give back to others and to try and be nice and kind to others too. And also, when you do help others, naturally, Allah will also help you in other ways as well, inshallah. And that's something that I tried to hold for myself going into the final year. I didn't try to just focus on studying all the time, every single day. I'm someone who I like to focus a lot of time onto studying, but I want to make sure that I have a balance. And it's very important to know yourself and to know what works best for you. When I was studying, I would study a lot of the daylight hours. So morning until night, I would study a lot. But I realized that for myself, when it came dark, I lost sort of motivation and I got a bit tired and I couldn't study too much at night times, unless it was the day before an exam. But normally at night time, it would be hard for me to study. So I would try and do different things. So I would try and do some volunteering. I tried to do some hayr, some good things on the side. And I'm not someone to try and say, oh, I did volunteering, I did such amazing things, but it's more so you guys can use it as motivation, to try and, I guess, encourage you guys to do good things as well, because Allah always rewards us if we are doing good things. And inshallah, so I tried to balance that. So try and study as much as I can. And then when I feel like I'm not getting much out of it anymore, or I've hit that sort of, we call it a bell curve. So it essentially goes up and then down. And if you're studying a lot during the day and it goes all the way up, once you feel like it starts to go down and you're at the bottom part, then there's no point of you continuing to try forcing yourself to study, because it's not going to stay in your head. And then you can probably do something better. I know I read some books as well about studying methods, and it was important to have little breaks. So something that I did while I was studying for that long time, because it's hard, especially in today's age. There's a lot of technology, a lot of distractions, so it's very easy to get distracted by someone messaging on your phone. While you're studying, you're doing really, really good, and then your friend sends you a message, or someone gives you a call or something, or you want to check your social media. It's very normal. So while I was studying, I tried to turn off as much as I could from my phone and try and throw it away. And then when I did get that point where I was like, okay, I've been studying for 45 minutes, 1 hour, and I'm a bit bored, I would take 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes, stand up, go grab something to eat, talk to someone, check your phone for 5 minutes, but be very strict with that because it's very easy for 5 minutes to turn into 5 hours. So you have to make sure that you control it. And yeah, that's what I did, and that's what helped me. And it was something that really worked, and I learned that in year 12 as well, especially with the way that I was studying, and I'm able to bring that onto life now, where you focus as much as you can and try and give 100% as much as you can until you hit that point where you're just not being able to give as much anymore. And then when you hit that, you take a little short break, stand up, stretch, walk to the kitchen, grab something to eat, come back, start again. And it's better that you do that. Let's say you do that for 3 hours. So you take 3 5-minute stand up sessions. That's 15 minutes. And then for the rest of the 3 hours, so for the 2 hours and 45 minutes, you've actually got really strong, effective studying going on. All for me as well at this point, working. So you get that very, very good amount in. Whereas if you were to sit for 3 hours straight, not stand up, not do anything, and if you're already getting bored, but you're like, no, I have to sit, I have to keep studying, I have to keep studying. And after 1.5 hours or 2 hours, if you feel like you're just not paying attention, your brain's not there, you're not focusing, then that's not good either. And it works differently for everyone. Some people can study for hours, 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 and they remember all of it. And that if that's how you are, then make sure that you do that because it's everyone's different. I'm looking at the meeting now. There's about 200 participants. That's probably about at least 200 different ways that can work for studying, and people have different ways that's going to work for them. So I'll try and I guess keep it on like a general sort of advice. This is what worked for me. If it works for you guys as well, then hopefully that's a fantastic way to do. But try and take things from others and try and see things from others as well. And that's why I was saying the friendship is very important. When you have friends that are studying a lot and they are also doing good things as well with the way that they're studying, they're sharing, you're learning with them, they listen in class, they're asking the teacher questions. They're the people you want to try and be like and also have around you. Because I'll say it in English because it's easier in English. I don't know what the Arabic is, but they say, tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. And that's a very important sort of saying that I tried to keep with me throughout life. Surround yourself with people that are going to have a positive influence on your life, and that can help you and motivate you. And when you have people like that who are studying a lot, like even during times when I had a very good friend who was a very, very, very hard studier and worker, harder than me. And I like to think that I'm just a little bit of a hard worker, but he was, mashallah, very, very hard worker. And every time I would study and I would do good, I would look over and I would see that he's also doing good as well. And then I would get motivated. I'd be like, oh, okay, I want to study and I want to keep doing good like him as well. And it's healthy. It's not I'm getting jealous of him. It's not, oh, look at him, he's doing bad. No, it's healthy competition. You want what's best for him, and you also want to motivate yourself to do good as well. So that's very important. And one of the other very important things from during my year 12 and my final year was I tried to balance out my personal challenges that I was going through, but also in terms of like studying and having this huge exam and these huge finals, and it's a final year, and it's almost like it's all about you. And I feel like it was very good for me to balance that with my personal life. So I found it very important to make sure that I was also doing good things as well. Good khair, good religious things to try and upbring my religiousness as well. Because at the end of the day, during the exams, you can go into the exam, study it for hours and hours and hours, try and learn as much as you can, memorize everything you can, have the perfect exam, have the perfect essay, have the perfect answers, have everything perfect from what you can control. But when you sit in that exam and you write down on that paper and you give it to the people who mark the exam, whatever happens then is up to Allah. And that's what I always try to do. It's the thing of understanding that you can only control what you can control, and whatever you can't control, you leave to Allah. And I always used to try and pray, and I used to always do the best that I can to do what I can do in the best of my ability, my control. Study as much as I can. Make sure I'm doing the right steps, the right exams, learning the right stuff, and then after that, you leave it to God, and you hope that whatever comes back for you is what's best for you. So that's what I used to do during my year 12. And actually, I'm excuse me, I'm just talking and talking and talking. But are there any, I guess, particular topics or conversations that the students would like to know about, or for me to go into?
Okay, that's okay, Abby. So everyone is pleased for you to, if you have questions regarding about what you're suffering right now or facing right now, especially for 12th graders, like it's hard for you to find like the stable a major next for the future when you want to go to the college or whatever is that. It's about the problem we can find in 12th graders. So it is please everyone from Cahaya and Chame maybe, or from Fatih. Yeah, or from the teachers as well. Yeah, so I'm just asking them if they have problems. Yeah, they face on their 12th graders. Yeah, maybe they're confused what to choose for their major for the next when they want to go to the college. Yeah, maybe. Do you have any suggestions maybe for everyone who's still like?
Yeah, I can talk about it a little bit, and I'll go into just a little bit. And if the students have questions, or if they want to ask me anything, feel free to ask. But some of the suggestions was, it's a very big decision, especially in year 12, where you have to pick something, I guess, that you're going to do for a very, very long time, you hope. And things like that, it's very important to not get scared of, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to pick something that I'm going to do right now. Yes, it is a very big decision. It is one that you should try and, to the best of your ability, try and learn as much as you can about yourself. See what you like. See what you would like to do. See how you would want to get into that field. And try and do the best that you can to make sure that you make the best decision. But in life, things change. Just because you pick something now doesn't mean that 20, 30 years later, you're still going to be doing the exact same thing. So don't get too scared that it's the only thing that you're ever going to do. Because in life, we have choices, we have decisions. When things aren't sort of going your way, or you want to try something different, you can. It's a little bit difficult sometimes, and easier for others, difficult for others, but normally in life, you can make changes like that. And what helped me was, up until my final exam, I was in my head saying, I'm going to be a lawyer. And every single day for nearly 2 years, right before the final exam, I was saying, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a lawyer. And then I got to my final exam, and then because I was doing one of my subjects at school was legal studies. So it's basically like what lawyers do. And I was doing that and doing that and doing that. And when I got to the final exam, I thought about it and I thought, I like this, but I don't think I want to do it as a job. So you learn as you're studying through it. And try, for the subjects that you guys are doing, for the things you're learning about in school, try and remember or pay attention to what subjects you like and what you're good at, and see if there's any of those that are together. Because sometimes you're really good at something, but you don't like it at all. And sometimes you really like something, but you're not good at it at all. So you have to try and look at it and see, the thing that I really like, can I get a lot better at it? And if you can, then go for it. Try and do that. And some people look at things that they're really good at, but maybe they don't like it as much, but because they're good at it, they want to do that as well. You can go for that route. So And sometimes people get blessed and they get to find something early on that they really like and they're really good at, and they can join it together. And that's a fantastic time as well for you to be able to do that. Some people learn that when they're early on in year 12, year 11. Sometimes people learn that during college or university. Sometimes people learn it years and years later. And that's with life. As you learn, as you grow, you see more things and you experience a lot more different things. And when you experience things, you see things differently. And what you thought 5 years ago, you might not think anymore. And that's completely normal. So don't get too scared that whatever you do right now is going to be what you're going to do until the end of time. So because when you do that, you get scared about the decision more than actually thinking about it and trying to do it because you want to do it. So try to think about it, but don't make it huge in your head. Try and understand it, but try and limit it to and be like, okay, that this is a decision I want to make. So what do I want to do? And for me, like I said, I was going to do I wanted to become a lawyer until my final exam. And then one of my very good friends came up to me and he said, why don't you think about doing finance or doing whatever the field I was in now? And I thought about it. I said, I don't know too much about that. So I looked into it and it was something that I found interesting. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. But because for so long I have to do law, that I didn't think about other things. So my advice for you guys would be to listen to what you want to do and also listen to what others are suggesting and telling you as well, and keep an open mind. Try and consider and think about everything. Obviously, the better marks you get, the more your options can get bigger. So try and do the best you can in studying and your exams so that you can open up as many options as possible. Because that's the beauty of it, to try and get as many options. And then when you have those options, even if it's a little bit, try and look into all of them, because you never know what you're going to run into. You never know what you can find. Like I said, my friend gave me advice literally 1 week before I sat my final exam. And then I sat my exam, and then after my exam, I thought, you know what, I want to try that. I want to go into that. And yeah, alhamdulillah. So I went into that, and I've been working there for 4 years now. So alhamdulillah. So I'm happy with what I'm doing. It's a good challenge, and it wasn't something that I thought about while in year 12 until the very, very end. And so yeah, I would encourage you guys to try and keep an open mind. So always consider everything, so that you can do that. And yeah, listen to other people as well. Listen to the people that are close to you, your family, your close friends, your teachers as well. Very important, because these people understand you from a different side. So you can always look at yourself and you understand yourself really well. But sometimes there's 9 out of 10 times you'll know yourself really well. But that 1 out of 10, someone else might see before you see yourself. And because they're older and they're more wiser, sometimes they give you some really good insight, not just for what you want to do in the future, but in life. So it's always good to try and listen to the elders, the people who know more than you, and try and always accept that information. Don't try and push it away and be like, no, you're wrong. You guys are all old enough now anyways to know that. Try and accept and learn from those around you, those that are older than you. I always have this example in the back of my head, and sorry if it's going off topic a little bit, but I always have this example where if someone who is older and wiser in front of you, if you're walking in a forest and he's sitting on a bench next to you while you're walking, and he says, "Oh, don't walk ahead of you in front of you there, because there's leaves on the floor, but there's a hole. It's covered, but there's a hole there. Don't walk there. Go this way." And if you say, no, I can't see a hole, so you're wrong, and then you walk into it and then you fall down yourself, then you're learning yourself, but you could have avoided that if you had listened to the person who gave you that advice, because they experienced it. And just like that in life, don't always try and do everything yourself and walk into every hole yourself. Sometimes it's better, in fact, I would think it's always better to try and ask from others, and to try and learn from them, because they've experienced it as well. Maybe they've fallen into a hole and they're telling you not to fall into that hole, so listen to them. So that's the advice I would give for that. and I applied it to my when I was looking for a job and looking for what career field I wanted to go into, because it is scary. And to try and think of, there's probably about 1,000 different jobs in the main fields of work that you can do. And then outside of that, you can go and start 1,000 more of your own businesses. So there's a lot to think about. And especially for someone who's in year 12, I'm guessing you guys are all 17, 18 years old. It's very scary. But try and learn from the people who've started working, who are in different fields. You know, ask a teacher, ask a doctor, ask a lawyer, ask the garbage man, ask anyone. See what they're doing, see what they like about it. And don't pay attention to exactly either just money or just fun. Try and listen to what they like about it and see if that's something that you would like as well. Do you like a challenge? Are you someone who likes to do things on your own? Do you like to do things in a big team? Do you like to do things where it's just you, you're on your computer, or it's just you, you're just looking at a document, or you're painting, or just you? Or do you like to work in big teams? Do you like to work in big organizations? And that's very important too, because if you want to do something that is, how can I say, if you want to become a singer or someone who does acting, but you hate when people look at you and you hate when you go on stage and you never want to do that ever, doesn't really work out. So you got to try and know what you want to do, what you like, but also is it something that you want to go ahead with as well. But yeah, that's sort of my advice for picking a career. It's difficult, and just know that your family, your friends, everyone out there is there to support you and there to try and help you, and you're not doing it just on your own. Try and use their support. And I always choose to go the religious way. I try to pray and try to ask that I get what is best for me, and if it's not good for me, to give me something better. Inshallah. So that's what I always try to do as well. But yes, Archie, Abi, is there any sort of questions or anything that the brothers would like to, brothers and sisters, have?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yeah, we have, but before we move to the next question, I would like to sum up your previous answer. But what or how, if we confused about what major we want to get in, if we want to go to the college. So, yeah, you have to listen to the older here again, so as many as information as possible. And then also you have a long time, for you to know yourself, what subject, what the things you're interested in. Okay, thank you, Mr. Birat. And may I share the question from our participants from PNA Fatih here. Okay, let me read for you, Mr. Birat. Okay, so we have a questions. If we have no motivation and have lots of laziness, yeah, what should we do? Okay, so there is a question. Okay, what do you think, Mr. Birat?
I have two answers to that. The first answer is the theory. So this is the understanding behind it. Personally, myself, I think that motivation shouldn't be 100% of why you do things. Motivation should only be 10, maybe 20%. And that motivation should be to get you over the line for something, but it shouldn't be the only reason you're doing something. Motivation should be used to help discipline. I don't think there's anyone in the world who every single day of the week, every single day of the year, wakes up and is excited to go to work, is excited to do everyday things and excited to study. Or you have moments when you don't feel like it. That's where motivation, you try to push yourself for motivation. But the most important thing is discipline. You really do have to discipline yourself. You have to make sure that you force yourself to do that, to study. You force yourself to study. You force yourself to work. That's got to come from inside. And I did it myself as well, where when I was younger, I was like, oh, I don't have motivation to study. And then I realized that if I'm going to wait for motivation to come, it's never going to come. And I'm just going to sit there doing nothing for the rest of time. You have to force yourself to get up and to go and do things. And that's with life. You can't you don't sit and wait for your clothes to wash themselves from motivation. You have to get up, go wash your clothes so you can wear it the next day. Motivation doesn't wash the clothes. And just like that, nothing happens from motivation. It helps you get over the line where you're disciplined, you're doing good things, and then the motivation helps you go from 100% to 110%. Or if you're down at 90%, the motivation can help you go back to 100%. But if you're at 0%, motivation is not going to make you go to 100%. That 90% needs to be you yourself. So that's my first answer to that. It's a bit harsh. I think it's a bit straightforward, but that's the reality. That's the reality of life. You have to do things, and you can't just run away from it. And the second answer I would say was myself. I try to make sure that I've got a full plate of things that I do. So I do work, I do personal life, my own personal things, the hobbies, the things that I like. I try to do volunteering, charity work. I try to make sure that I do a lot of things on my plate, and I always try to keep my plate full, so I don't have time to sit and wait for motivation. So I'm always doing something. That's what motivates me. That's what helps me stay motivated, is by not having time to sit and rest. I'm always on the go. I'm always trying to do something. Like for me, this is great because I'm working upstairs now, and then alhamdulillah, I'm blessed I can work from home. I work from home for until 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. I take my break, come down here, give this amazing talk, inshallah. Hopefully you guys are benefiting. And then I go straight back to work. And then after work, I have other meetings, dinner with the family. I'm always busy, busy, busy. And that's what helps me, because when you start to get lazy, then you get more and more and more lazy. And I always try to make sure that I don't let myself get to that point where I get lazy. So that would be my my answer to that. And it's easier when you do more to not be lazy, because you don't have time. But yeah, that's my sort of answer to that. But in saying that too, I'll quickly say, don't make yourselves work robots. Don't fully make yourself live and breathe and work. Like I said, balance. When you go out to a restaurant, you don't just go to a restaurant and get all dessert, or you don't get all entrees. You go, you have your entree at the start, your main meal at the beginning, and then you have your dessert at the end. And that's how you do things. You balance it out, and you make sure that you've got a balance of all three things.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Virat. I think it would be a nice suggestion from Mr. Virat. So it can help you to solve your all problems here. So it's not only for, I'm sure that it's not only for their problems, but yeah, me as well. Yeah, still have like laziness myself when I have nothing to do, not have no idea what to do, and sometimes I just like sleep, and then in the next couple hours I don't know what next, what I'm gonna do. Okay, but thank you, Mr. Virat. We have still one more questions.
And just to add to that too.
Oh yeah.
I do get times like that too, where I get lazy and I'm like, oh, I just want to sleep and things like that. It's good to sometimes take a little break. But at the same time, it's normal. We all have it. And that's when the discipline comes in. The discipline is how long you sleep. So if you need the sleep, take the sleep. But the discipline is how long do you want to sleep for? You can sleep for 10, 15 minutes, which is a good time to sleep, get energy again and go back up. Or do you want to sleep for 3-4 hours and just because you don't feel like it? And it's not nice. Especially if it's the middle of a work day, you can't just stop working and then go to sleep. There's a balance.
Yeah, but the fact sometimes there is of course intention to sleep like around 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but in the end of the day, we just sleep the whole day.
Yes. Alarms, inshallah. That's what you got to do.
Okay, and for the next question, let me share the screen. So the second questions, every time I face with a decision, I realize that I often overthink it. May I ask you your tips how to cope with this situation, with a decision?
So could you show the question one more time? I wanted to,
Okay.
to read it and look at it.
Okay, here we are.
Okay, every time. I guess there's got to be a level of trust. Like I said, I like to try and trust that whatever happens for a reason, and that really is the trust that I try to have. There is a lot of the things you can control, like I said earlier, but there's going to be things that you just can't control, and there's no point. You learn this over time as you get older as well. There's no point to try and sit and worry and get scared and try and think about things so much that you don't have control over, because no matter how much energy you put into that, it's not going to make a difference. If you are, for example, if you're waiting to get your results and you want to get an A, yeah, you've already done your exam, you've submitted it, you've given it to the teacher, it's getting marked. You can stress a lot and a lot and a lot about what's going to happen when you get that exam, but no matter how much you stress or overthink it, it's not going to make a difference from what paper or what mark is going to be given to you at the end of that. So do what you can up until that point, but then when you're making the decision or when you're waiting for the result, try not to overthink it and waste energy on that. Try and use your energy somewhere else, because there's things that you can control in life and there's things that you can't control. So that's what I usually do when I'm making a decision. I try to make sure that I think about it as far ahead as possible. I try to plan for as much as possible, try to understand what the decision is, how it's going to affect me, myself, the ones around me, my family, and then make the best decision that I think, and also trust that I try and get advice if I can from other people, learn from other people. And then once you make that decision, you go ahead with it and you hope that it's a good decision, inshallah, and that you pray that it's the best decision. But there's going to be things that you can't control and things that you just don't know. And it's okay to say, I don't know, because that's the first step of you understanding that you're not perfect. You can't know everything. So when you understand that you don't know, you go ahead and then you try and learn about it. A lot of the time we get stuck trying to overthink because we think we know all the answers, or we are trying to know all the answers. And once you realize that you don't know all the answers, it means it's a first step for you to know that you have to go out and find the answers somewhere else. It doesn't all live up here. You're not born with everything. We aren't perfect. You have to sometimes learn from others and learn from reading, learn from experience too. Some things you can't read, you have to experience. And that's, the more you get older and the more you experience things and you live things, the better the less the overthinking gets, because you realize that you have to start trusting a lot as well. I trust in God that whatever happens for a reason, and that there's some things that I just can't control, and that I trust to Him that He's going to give me what is best for me and for all of us, inshallah. And that's what I always try to do. Do what you can do to the best of your ability, and then leave the rest to Allah, and then go from there. Yeah, that's my answer for that.
Next suggestion from Mr. Pirat, yeah. So let everything after we have struggle effort. So just put everything on Allah's hand, yeah, Mr. Pirat. Okay. So since we got like not much remaining time, I think still giving one more opportunity to everyone. If you have something to ask, yeah, one more questions maybe. Also, it's possible for homeroom teachers as well. If you want to ask something from your students, okay, anyone maybe, Rancamaya, where are you guys? I think it's a nice opportunity for you, good chance for you to ask something if you facing like a certain problems right now. Anyone? Okay. So we got one more questions. And I think it will be the last one, yeah, Mr. Birat.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, wait.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Okay,
May I ask you
waalaikumsalam.
a question? What is the biggest challenge you have to overcome when you study abroad? And what is the tips and trick to do that?
Did you say study abroad?
Yes. What is your biggest challenge that you have to overcome when you study abroad?
I guess studying abroad and even studying in general, it's important to learn, especially overseas, to try and put yourself in a good environment very early on. When I was overseas in Indonesia, I didn't study myself, but I had some friends that did study, and it was very important for them. As soon as they got there, you observe, you look around, you see which people you want to be around with, where you want to be, and try and active for the first week, try and actively, learn and see, I guess, what the best environment is, the best people. There's also the language as well. If you go to another country that isn't the same language speaking as like the same language as yourself, you have to try and learn that language. And if you can beforehand, start practicing. And then once you go to the actual country, it's very important to learn and practice it with other people there. Force yourself to only speak that language, and that's how your brain learns the fastest. Um, Try to, I guess, find a good university or a good college in another country that can offer uh, a good sort of paper degree at the end of the time that you can use in a lot of places. Don't go abroad just because you want to go abroad. Try and be a bit more smart and a bit more tactical about it. If you have two options where one college is a bit far, but one college is a bit close, but the one that's a bit far has a lot more sort of higher stature, which is like a bigger university, better opportunities you can get from studying there. Um, it's going to be a bit more tougher because you're going to have to travel and it's going to be a lot more difficult for you. But with difficulty becomes ease in the future. You can't go the easy way out every single time. Sometimes you do have to make that hard choice, that hard sacrifice, and then better things will come from it. So that's one of the challenges. And I know with overseas as well, it's very difficult. I know with Indonesian students, I had one of the students went to Melbourne, I think it was, or Victoria, and he's studying there now. Mashallah, I'm happy for him. And it's not impossible. I know I've heard a lot of students who, especially in Indonesia, they love hearing people from overseas because they want to study overseas as well. It's not impossible. Try and do the best that you can to get good marks, to get yourself ready for that, so that when you do want to do that and you want to try and go overseas, that you've got your sort of plate ready to show to someone to be like, hey, I want to study overseas. This is what I've done. This is what I've got. And that's all you can do. And then for the rest, you got to, like I said, you got to pray to Allah. Just hope that He gives you and sends you and puts you in the right direction, in the right place, for what's best for you. Sometimes if a door closes in front of you, don't get upset that the door is closed. It's probably because there's a better door that opens somewhere else. And if Indonesia is the place that's going to be great for you to study, and if you don't get to go overseas because you try, and you don't get it, then just know that everything happens for a reason. Maybe it's better for you to study here. But in saying that, don't try and just study in Indonesia, or don't try and stay exactly where you are and just say, oh, well, I'm here. Try and do your best to try and go for things that you want to go for. If you want to study abroad, do the best that you can to try and study abroad. And especially with technology today, it's not too difficult because you can always call, you can always stay in contact with your family, your friends, and do things online. Alhamdulillah, we're blessed with that now. Like I said at the very beginning, I'm in Australia. I'm thousands of kilometers away from you guys, and we can have a very simple face-to-face conversation. And yeah, we can learn from each other, and it's great. That's the beauty of technology these days. It's not as hard as it used to be before to study abroad. It is still a bit scary. You have to be responsible. You have to live on your own or with others. That's not your family. But at the end of the day, the harder something is, the better the rewards. And that's something that's always in life, everywhere you go. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. I don't have too much else to say particularly, unless you have another question. Abi, I think we got time for one more question if they have. If not, that's okay as well.
Okay. So, actually, I prepared one question to before we close the webinar. Mr. Brad, if you had one wish, yeah, what would it be?
One wish.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a very, very broad question.
Okay.
This is going to be very, what we say, cliche, very cheesy, basic. But I guess my wish is to be the best person that I can be at the end of my life, to try and look back and be happy with everything that I did, to try and be a good influence to others, to be a good person. That's my wish. I always try to do that. That's what motivates me. That's my motivation. That's my 10%. The rest of it's discipline, as I was saying. But I always try to do the best that I can do and try to be the best person that I can be, and leave the rest to Allah. And I guess that would be my wish. Yeah. What about you, Abby? What would be your wish? You put me on the spot. I can put you on the spot now.
Okay, so maybe the same as you. I think I would be the best version of me. Yeah, if I know that I have so many like something to regret in life, but yeah, as like I have a look on your examples that like just thankful what we have done, not being like just be thankful, be grateful what we have done, and then yeah.
That's a good answer. And I don't know if I'm lagging or if the host is lagging, but I'm a bit frozen here at the moment. It is the host. MashaAllah, he gave such a Mubarak answer that the stream couldn't handle it. But I guess we can try and wait for him to come back. Beautiful. Well, look, thank you very much, everyone. It has been beautiful to get to speak to all of you. And hopefully, even if it's just a little bit, hopefully I can help you guys and motivate you guys, and hopefully you were able to take something small away from this, if anything. And I always love trying to get in contact with the Indonesian brothers and sisters. And I think some of the RBs and the teachers have my contact. So if you guys would like to ask me anything, I'm always open to answering, to try and joining these kind of beautiful things that you guys are doing. And your teachers and RBs are always trying to do the best for you guys. And they reached out to me to try and do that as well. And inshallah, I can help deliver that, but also know that they are trying to help you guys. They always care about you guys. They always want the best for you. So yeah, inshallah, one day you guys can do the same for future students and future generations as well. And we can all help each other, inshallah. And yeah, I will leave you guys to it, inshallah. And if there's any other questions, like I said, feel free to reach out, let me know, and I'll try and answer them. And if you guys would like to have me again in some other way, I'm happy to as well. But until then, inshallah, take it easy, everyone. And assalamu alaikum. And
excuse me, Mr. Virat, can we have a photo session before you leave?
Hey, what? Sorry?
Can we have a photo session before we leave?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Mr. Febri, could you please help us to take the screenshot for this meeting?
All right.
Yes, we have a lot of participants here. Can you please tell us once you have done, yeah, Mr. Febri? Okay, everyone, please open your cam.
And if I could get a copy of this one as well, inshallah, I love to I love to look back at these photos.
Have you, Mr. Febri? You can also count till 3 maybe, so we will know that you have already taken the picture.
Yeah. Okay. It's fine.